Everyone, Russell Westbrook. The experiment with the Lakers clearly didn't work. These three are very likely going to break up this season, and Russell Westbrook will end up getting traded. And there's many questions on like what could have been, and could it have worked? And Darvin Ham, could he have made it happen? But ultimately, I think Laker fans are all just like, hey, let's move on, cut our losses, trade him, let's get back some assets, things like that. But in this video, what I want to talk about is, wherever Westbrook gets traded, whether it's in the Kyrie Irving deal, whether it's in the Pacers deal, whether it's, the Spurs taking on the contract and just buying him out, wherever Westbrook goes, he's going to get bought out. Like, that's the whole idea, right? To take on his contract, clear your books, and then buy him out, and then he can go be a free agent, and he can sign wherever he wants. This was the discrepancy with the agent that Russell Westbrook fired, right? Because the agent was like, just do what the Lakers want you to do. Be happy, be merry, buy in just for a year, and then you're a free agent. You could go do whatever you want. Because otherwise, what's going to happen? The Lakers are going to give up assets to trade you. Any team that trades for you, they don't want you, the player. They want the contract. And then therefore, they're just going to buy you out. And then you're going to end up having to go to another team. And now you're going to sign for a vet minimum deal. And now your market is just destroyed. That was the problem that the agent had. I mean, that's what the agent said. But Westbrook wants to be traded. He wants out. He doesn't want to be there anymore. And very likely this breakup is coming to its boiling point, and it's going to happen. I feel like it's a matter of when, not if, when it comes to Westbrook being traded. But the big question is, what happens to Westbrook after he's bought out? What team is going to be willing to take him on, right? Because a lot of teams already have point guards. Russell Westbrook, I still believe, is that dude. Russell Westbrook, I think, is a guy that can absolutely still get you, a 30-point triple-double. I just think he needs the right environment, the right situation, the right team, a team that is willing to let Russ be Russ. And yes, I do think that Russ needs to kind of buy in, to be a long-lasting player in this league. But, you don't want to run the risk of becoming another Allen Iverson, right? Where he just thought he was more elite than he really was. And it was obvious that he doesn't want to fit in, and he was out the league. Russell Westbrook faces that exact same thing. And I do think a team would be willing to give Russ a contract, especially a vet minimum contract. But again, fit, what kind of role is he going to play? Is Russ going to be able to be Russ? I don't see Russ being willing to take a bench role on any team. Any team he goes to, he's going to want to be, at least a starter. Maybe not necessarily the guy, but he's going to want to be a starter. So one team that immediately comes to mind is the Washington Wizards, right? He was great for the Wizards. Like, seriously. And the Wizards loved Russ. Many Wizards fans were upset that they traded Russ, but they understood the package and what they got. It was like, okay, that makes sense. And the Wizards, they're looking at it as like, look, Russ, you wanted to go home. You wanted to go to LA. We wanted to keep you. But we got a great package deal for you, and you were able to go home. It didn't work out. Come back. Russ could sign for the vet minimum, and it could be huge for Russ. Russ was really good for them. I mean, he was like a 30-point triple-double guy for them. Him and Bradley Beal single-handedly with like a bunch of nobodies basically took them to the playoffs. I mean, that's where it stopped, but they at least took them to the playoffs. And so now you actually have some solid pieces around Russ, right? You still have Bradley Beal. You got Kristaps Porzingis. You got Kyle Kuzma. You got, Ryu. You got guys that can really be effective in a layout with Russell Westbrook. And Russ could just go there and be Russ. That would be huge for him because that's what he needs. He needs a place that he's comfortable in, that he's familiar with, that can allow him to kind of just do what he wants to do and not jeopardize their team, right? Because that's the problem. Anywhere he goes, you run the risk of him coming in, trying to be the bully, trying to be, I am still that guy. And many teams that may want to take Russ aren't going to want to do that. And all the bad teams, the problem is too, they're all going to be tanking, So you need to go to a place where they're not tanking and would be willing to take you on and could use a point guard of Russ's caliber that was effective there, stuff like that. And I think that Russ to the Washington Wizards would be a huge benefit. I mean, seriously, him and Bradley Beal were great together. And Bradley Beal, to this day, still talks highly of Russell Westbrook. And to add Russ to that, you have like your third star, I guess. Kristaps Porzingis, Bradley Beal, Russell Westbrook. The beauty of Porzingis is he's a guy that can spread the floor and allow Russ to, get to the hoop, get to the paint. He's a guy that can knock down the outside shots. So that would be hugely beneficial. They still have, like I said, they got Ryu. They got Monty Morris, right? That's another guy that they picked up, if I'm not mistaken. Vernon Carey. They got Will Barton. They got a bunch of guys that they can put around them, but they don't have any like point guards, right? Monty Morris is a point guard, but he's kind of more of like a shooting point guard. They did get DeLon Wright, but is he really your starting point guard? To me, he's more of a backup point guard than anything. And like I said, Monty Morris serves better, I think, as like your shooting guard who can make plays, but ideally you kind of want him as your shooting guard. So Russ could go to the Wizards and immediately be the starting point guard, be able to just be Russ. They got shooters around him. They got guys that can be really good and really effective around him. You still have Bradley Beal. Their relationship is good. I just think however you shake it, the Washington Wizards make a ton of sense for Russell Westbrook. I think Russell Westbrook going back to the Wizards could be hugely beneficial. They get Russ on a low-risk, high-reward type deal, right? They get Russ on a vet minimum, basically. And if it works again, and it's great, and maybe you get to the playoffs again, maybe you win a series, depending on where you are in the playoffs, something like that. Now, maybe, you probably keep Bradley Beal around longer, because that's always the concern. Bradley Beal signed the contract, but it's like, did he sign the contract just to secure the bag, and then, next season ask for a trade? Well, if Russ is great for him and he loves Russ, then maybe you keep Bradley Beal more long-term. Russ, you could re-sign on a new deal. I mean, he's never going to be a $47 million a year guy, but he could be a guy that, you pay 15 to 20 million for, which could be reasonable. And then you have Russ, Bradley Beal, Porzingis. Porzingis money falls off the books the year after next. So you kind of run it with them for one more year, and then maybe you can make something happen. Maybe you could get another guy to come join Russ and Beal, another shooter or something like that. I don't know. It's just, you look at the teams and you look at the landscapes and you try to find a spot for Russ, and it's just hard right now. There's not a lot of teams that would be willing to take him on. Now, if he would accept a 6-man role, there's probably a ton of teams that would be willing to keep him. Even the Lakers included, if he didn't have a $47 million contract. But if Russ would be willing to come off the bench, the Lakers might say, hey, we'll keep him, let him play the 6-man role. I just don't see him and his ego allowing him to do that, at least now, not until reality really hits. He still thinks he's that guy. He's looking at it as like, yeah, everybody says this, that, and the other, yet all these teams keep trading for me. So obviously I'm still that guy. I think it's going to take reality to kind of hit for him to go, okay, like, I guess I was wrong. And that's probably what's going to end up happening. But I don't know. I think the Wizards would be a great fit. Wizards fans loved him. I've even made videos in the past on my As It Stands channel, not this channel, As It Stands Lakers. I've even talked about him on that and had Wizard fans like, hey, we would welcome him back. He was great for us, because he was. He fit in. He was humble. He seemed to love it there. Bradley Beal really loved Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook seemed to really love Bradley Beal. Like everything. I think that it was a match made in heaven. I don't think that the Wizards are ever winning anything with him and Bradley Beal, but Bradley Beal's probably never winning anything in the Wizards anyway. And at least you're entertaining, at least you're competitive, at least you sell some seats. You probably make the playoffs every year. I just think it's not the worst case scenario. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think, yeah, like Russ, if he ends up getting bought out, send him back to the Wizards? Like, that would be a perfect fit for him. He goes, signs a prove it deal, or I don't even know if it'd be a prove it deal at that point, because he proved it the year prior. I just think it would be, like I said, it'd be a low risk, high reward move. You're getting Russ for, the vet minimum. You need a starting point guard. Like DeLon Wright, like I said, I don't really think he's a starting point guard. I think he's a better backup. Monty Morris, like, he's more of a 2-guard to me than a point guard. You kind of make the argument Russ is kind of that, but at least, he'll get you 10 assists a game and stuff, and he could drive and kick, and adds another layer to this team that they don't have currently. And your big man can spread the floor better than most big men. So, Russ would have an open paint, all of that stuff. You got a lot of things that would really benefit Russ. And you got some more talent than you did last time when Bradley Beal and Russ led the team to the playoffs by themselves. Like I said, you got guys like Kuzma and Monty Morris, things like that. You got a couple new young guys. What's his name? Chris Burt. He was like a lights out 3-point shooter at one point. All that stuff. So anyway, you got guys is my point. But again, however you feel about it, whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, whatever you are thinking or feeling, please let me know down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.